Flat Earth Debate Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Also below this video you can get £50 for swapping your UK electricity supplier to Octopus Energy. Speaking of Patreon, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon. So a massive shout out of thanks and appreciation to Philip Simon, Will Brax, Melby Styles, Troy Shuker, Bose Nail, Joseph Pizarro, Samson, Maris, Mobile Max 777, Neo the One, Lost Cat FE, Rob W, Open Minded, Reese Pound, Del West Watson, Mike, Muted, Dick Earth Skeptic, NA Literalist Maria Neelands, Unbelievable Productions, Blue Ridge Ranger, Rob H, The Real Gabster, Rindrider, Liam Nedrick Jr., Abraham Mohammed, Naibai, Adrian Quintana, Skeptic936, Life is Short, Fireball X, TheFlatEarthChannel.com, Texas Mike, Edwin Johnson, Kirsten Smith, and see the rest of the page. And David Wayne Foster. So another massive thank you to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. I'm going to hand over to whoever is in Discord and Google so you can enjoy their conversation while I set up for today's live show.
Look at the word pompous.
Arrogant.
Effectively and irritatingly grand, solemn, and self-important. Huh. Alright, I know what you guys are. My goodness. Hey, Nathan.
Hello.
Hello.
Morning. I see Ranty's doubling down on his observation proving drop.
The model,
challenging everybody for a debate. But you can't debate on the left-hand side of the picture, and it must be on Conspiracy Cat's channel.
So if you take a certain scale from a certain crop picture and you look at it just right, you could pretend it's not a globe anymore.
See, I prefer to think of it as looking at the Punch and Judy show and not imagining the hands that are operating the puppets from above. And when someone says, hang on, why is Punch and Judy moving around the stage like that? And you say, there's a puppeteer above. And then you say, no, don't look at the puppeteer above. Explain to me the mathematics of those strings there. How are they operating like that? And it's like, yeah, there's a bloke at the top. That seems to be the conversation he wants to have. Punch and Judy were puppets, string puppets, weren't they?
The bit I want to focus on, Anthony, if it's good by you, is Ruhif's misapprehensions about refraction being perspective. Now, in their globe maths, their refraction isn't even refraction, let alone it being perspective. So, go on.
I might have missed something. What have I missed?
Yesterday, I got quite frustrated with you because I was asking you to direct me to the perspective that's been added to the curve calculator in terms of the linear perspective they claim can be applied. And I said, show me where it's being applied then if Ruhif's telling you this. And you kept taking me to refraction. I'm like, that's not perspective. It's not even refraction.
No. I was just playing devil's advocate. I was trying to show that that's how he's doing it. I'm not saying that that's right. I'm just saying that's how he's doing it.
But he's not doing it. When I say where's the perspective that they're all talking about at the moment, well, if he's directing you, are you saying he's not directing you to refraction? You've just suggested that he would do that.
Well, he's directed me to both refraction and the linear scale that he's applying, the absolute values. He basically thinks that the 3,000 foot mountain is still 3,000 foot when it's like 50 miles away. I know that it is 3,000 feet when it's 50 miles away, but the way we perceive it is less than one fraction of 1 degree, isn't it?
Oh,
And
didn't
that's
we-
the bit he's ignoring.
I think we covered this yesterday. Obviously, it wasn't in reference to Roofy, it was in reference to cats, but I'm more than happy to reiterate the same thing. Hello, Roofy. The bottom of the mountain is close, and the top of the mountain's far away. So your feet and inches that you're calling perspective, and then directing Anthony to refraction in your calculator, all of that's nonsense. Now, it's nice that you've recognised that we have perspective. Not so nice that you're directing Anthony to refraction when that's not even refraction, let alone perspective. That's a big problem, Ruhi. So, mountains at the top far away. Mountains at the bottom are close, Ruhif. Is this too complex for you?
Apparently, Ranty claims that there's a trap. He's saying that there's a trap there. He doesn't want us to talk about the left-hand side. He doesn't want us to talk about perspective, but there's apparently a trap. And apparently he's laid it for me, even though he wants a debate. And I'm like, there's no need to even have a debate. It's like literally a matter of fact. It's either one fact or not. Just do a 2-minute video saying this is what I think and why. You don't need to do a 10-minute, just do literally a 2-minute. And the issue is that turbine where we say it is or not? If it is, then it's behind the Earth curve on your model. If it's not, then show us what it is. And that's it. It's all he needs. But he doesn't want to do that.
Also, he's claiming there's drop. Full stop. Well,
Yep.
we've immediately modelled it without drop. Where's yours? You're saying there's drop? No, there isn't.
Google Earth says there's no drop.
The picture says there's no drop. They just don't want to talk about the left-hand side of it that they cropped out. So you're telling me that they don't want to talk about the bit they cropped out? I wonder why. I wonder why they cropped it out. I wonder why no one on their side's pointing out that they've cropped it out and now they don't want to talk about the bit that's cropped out. Okay. Can you say cherry picking?
Hold on a second. Did you listen to the video that Flatsoid posted? Ranty talking. They don't want to talk about anything on the left because you can't make anything out on the left. They want to talk about things that you could see. Nothing that you can't make out.
Nothing to see? You mean their response is literally nothing to see here? You kidding me?
Right.
It's getting better and better.
It's like, have you ever seen Naked Gun when, what was that old guy's name? He's standing, the fireworks are going off. He's like, there's nothing to see here.
It reminds me of that comical Ali. Do you remember that guy, the military guy from Iraq, when he was saying there are no American forces in Iraq, and in the background there's bombs going off.
Yeah, that's it. We don't want to look at the left-hand side. There is nothing to see here. You mean the black swan that we're pointing out? That's not an enormous fire that sets fire to all of your models and claims up till now. Yeah, that's definitely something to see, lads. Keep telling your audience that no, the cherry pick bit only, because that's going to go over well.
Mic check.
Yo. Hey, then.
Yeah, that was Baghdad Bob.
Well, we had him pegged as Comical Ali because they nicknamed him Chemical Ali over there. So we called him in England Comical Ali because he was a joke.
So I came in just as you guys were going. So someone said they don't want to talk about the left hand side of the picture that they're trying to use, and the picture was taken by a professional photographer, and they want to limit it to something. Is that right?
Yes, they're insisting
He's insistent on a debate, and he wants to ensure that the debate that happens must be on Conspiracy Cats' channel, and you must address the point that he's making. And if to address it, you're not allowed to refer to the debunk of the point he's making that appears on the left-hand side of the picture. So he doesn't accept the debunk is a debunk because he doesn't want you to know about it. It's like, how can you have a conversation like that?
Yeah, but Brian's already accepted the debate knowing that.
Has he?
Regardless of what Brian's accepted in
I don't know
debate,
why.
we don't need any of them, right? Now,
No, we don't need any of them.
If they want to come and say you're wrong and proactively challenge us, then they're more than welcome to do so. Do I give a crap? Someone asked me that straight away. Well, have you told Ranty? Do I give a crap? About
Well, I did.
telling him
Nathan, I
personally?
did.
Telling
Jim
him? Not
Pandas.
debating him. This isn't a debating situation. This is a, I'll tell you how stupid you are. Yeah? I'll
Yeah.
point out your clown show trig. What's that? No, we must accept that you're going to burn it as our claim. We don't need you to point out how stupid what you've done is. You think we need you here to do that? No. Bless.
Well, I went on Gems this morning, and they were saying to me that this is not a flat earth debate show. It's just you yelling at people, so I had to knock them down a few pegs with that. And I said, look, Ranty knows where to come. If he's got this rock solid proof, why is he not over here?
I don't need Gem Panda here either. He was another
I
one
know.
drawing tangent lines to Earth curve horizons at the Isle of Man. Now, weren't you, Gem? Gem, you think I need you here? No, but I can definitely hold up all those claims of how much the lighthouse was blocked, right, Gem? Yeah? You're proving that tangent point horizon in the geometry. What's that, Gem? Not perspective, because it's geometric. Meanwhile, we do not see the geometric horizon, Gem. Do you want to thank Katz, because he's dragged you into this now? Because you were one of those fuckwits also claiming that we could see Earth curve at the horizon blocking the Isle of Man now. Remember, Gem? Do you think I need him here to do that? No. Thanks, Katz. Just drag Gem Panda in as well. Epic.
Well, they're trying to
No
make
one-
it sound like there's no debate show over here. That's why they're not coming.
That's what I would say if I just heard what I just said about Gem Panda. We're being told in 2021 that there's no geometric horizon. Gem Panda has specifically told us that it's blocking a lighthouse. Well, there you go. Debate? No, he's right. There's no debate here. He was just wrong.
Well, they want to keep their bendy line to the horizon, so they can't come here.
They also want to call it perspective, from what I understand. It seems Roofy's struggling with basic English. Do you not know the different words? Perspective's perspective. And you're begging the question proof of nothing perspective hijacking Earth curve calculator, and it's refraction that isn't actually refraction. It's light bending around at 7/6 of a radius through an atmosphere. That's not perspective. Hello, cats. Do you think if I go back and look hard enough, I won't find you justifying why we're not using perspective? Because it's geometric, right? I think I will. I think I've got quite a few clips that I can dig out of people telling us why we won't be using perspective in globe maths. But now you think it's already in there? Well, that makes no sense, Ruhif. For a start, they're different words. Yeah, I know English. Probably your second language, right? Oh no, Australian. You should be able to cope with basic English. Really, Ruhif. Shouldn't need me pointing out they're different words. And when we discussed your refraction that isn't even refraction, you were very quick to tell us that you didn't need the perspective accounting with your feet and inches value because of your geometry, right? Now you think it's there, it seems you're having a bit of a cognitive breakdown, my friend. Mental troubles? Yeah, struggling with English? Happy to point it out, Ruhif. You complete idiot.
The Black Swan's catching up with them now, I believe.
Yeah. They all thought they could hand wave it and dismiss it, and then suddenly something like this happens, and Kat answers this absolute gem. And suddenly it's all back on the table, and everyone's suddenly realising the consequences of not having a tangent to the horizon and claim it's Earth curve, when you've just told us you don't have that anymore. That's a big problem when people like Rumpus come here and suddenly have to start explaining away with a lot of stuttering how, yes, well, in that instance, during the Isle of Man, it probably was a geometric horizon I was claiming and trying to prove as Earth curve. But I still factored in all of the refracted horizons back then. Lies. Got liars like Rumpus having to overtly lie about what they've claimed mere years earlier on the show. Obviously, Rumpus has forgotten about his lies he's got to now tell.
Didn't they give a nickname, Flirspective?
Yeah, we don't need perspective in our calculator. What's that flirspective? Sorry, Ruhif, do you think refraction is flirspective? Are you completely insane? Or just don't understand English, Roofy? Yeah, remember? Fleur perspective not needed, mate. Geometric. Now you think it's already in there? I think you're having a bit of a cognitive break there, Roofy. Seriously, mate. Refraction isn't even refraction for you. That's 7/6R. Light bending around an atmosphere. Sphere-shaped air in violation of the second law of thermodynamics. That's what your quote-unquote refraction is. Definitely not perspective, mate. What kind of a thicko are you? Oh dear, Roofy. This is very embarrassing.
Nobody claimed that refraction was refraction.
It's actually perspective all along when they were telling us they didn't need it. It's Fleur perspective. Here's our refractive value. That's perspective, they cried. Oh, no, they didn't, Roofy. No, you didn't at all. You didn't, Roofy. You were here, remember?
Hello, by the way.
Hey, Owen.
Yo.
How's everybody doing?
In a very good
Good
mood.
times. We're doing great.
Hey Nathan, hey everybody.
Hello.
Hey, Brian.
Hey Brian, what's the latest on the debate that you're planning?
Well, basically, I'm debating tomorrow night at 10 o'clock on Conspiracy Cats channel because Ranty wouldn't go on to other channels, only Conspiracy Cats or Creaky Blinders because they're both Conspiracy Cats basically. He pulled out of the debate on Brandon's. He wouldn't debate on Brandon's. He won't debate about the left-hand side of the photograph. I'm not allowed to speak about a lot of stuff like the geometric horizon and a lot of other things. So it's a completely corrupt, stifled debate that they're hoping to just bring me in there and show me trigonometry and go, look, proof.
Don't be too
Right,
quick
can
to
I
judge. No.
Why don't you?
Hold on.
I wouldn't do-
Hold on. Don't be too quick to judge, Brian. Obviously, they need all those caveats and home turf advantage. They're defending the rhetoric of the entirety of the Western world, which everybody accepts. So obviously, they need lots of advantages.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is, Nathan.
Hey, before the debate gets started, ask them to repeat the stuff that you're not allowed to talk about.
Exactly. But can I just ask what is
That's
the
a
benefit
brilliant
of, like,
move. Just repeat that before I start the live show, because that's the best move so far, Brian. Epic tip. Go ahead, John.
Sleeping Warrior is getting ready to say something.
If it's not the same
I'll just
thing.
echo those words. Just make sure that you outline or you get them to admit the terms of the debate, the restrictions on the debate, so that all can see the restrictions, and then just sit there in silence. There's no debate, is there then?
No. So I'm not allowed to debunk Earth as a sphere here. You're only allowed to burn your straw man of what you say our perspective is. Epic. Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Also, below this video, you can get £50 for swapping your UK electricity supplier to Octopus Energy. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show. One last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now, we are joined by Neil, Brian, Sleeping Warrior, 10th Man, Father of a Stolen Child, Arwin, did I miss anybody? Adam Meakin, and a whole bunch of people in Discord. So welcome, one and all.
Howdy.
Morning.
Hey,
Morning.
Good morning. So we've got a bit of a list going before we get into housekeeping, which we may forego altogether. Now, that particular list is the things that we've been crying out for, let's just call it that, as opposed to laughing hysterically at their failures. And the list has just got a little bit longer. So we might as well go through that list of things that we're waiting for. In the first instance, right, the image that apparently Brian's going to be debating on Conspiracy Cats tonight, with a load of caveats about things he's not allowed to debate about, including the black swan on the left-hand side of the image. So that's a case in point. We'll add that to the list. Not allowed to debate anything other than their cherry-pick crop image. Okay, that's a bit of a problem. Secondly, they don't even know the height of the observation. We've had 4 given to us. 2 of them from the 2 co-stars themselves, Ranty and Katz. So they can't even agree amongst themselves about the observation height. It's pathetic. So let us know when you figured out the observation height, globehead retards, because you're not doing too well so far. Let's just let chocolate in. We've also got clown show trig being applied. Now, do we have to do the Father Ted bit every single time? The mountain is further away at the top and closer at the bottom. Applying rulers to this stuff is nonsense, so that you can retain feet and inches values. Now, I've got a further issue which needs adding, which is Ruhif has been directing Anthony to a refracted value in the Earth curve maths when talking about perspective, being included in the maths that we were explicitly told by people like Ruhif was excluded. And what were they excluded? Well, the silly fleur perspective that it didn't need because it was geometric. Now we're told, like on screen, that we no longer have a tangent line to the Earth curve horizon they were proving. It's actually refracted, making the geometric maths impossible to function, because you need a tangent to the Earth curve they thought they were proving. Now Ruhif has decided that he's going to bait and switch Anthony and tell him that, oh yeah, perspective's part of 7/6 of a radius, also known as terrestrial refraction. Well, that terrestrial refraction isn't even refraction. It's like bending through a presupposed atmosphere, sphere-shaped air, in violation of the second law of thermodynamics, given that gas would fill space. So it's total nonsense, definitely not perspective, but it's nice that we've now got this little bit of leverage with Ruhif, who's claiming perspectives included in their, quote, refraction. Now, I'm the first to tell Ruhif this, I don't mind. They're different words, Ruhif. Perspective and refraction. Now, when we asked you, why no perspective in the maths, you laughed, called it fleur perspective, and told us it's geometric. And now you're telling Anthony that it's part of 7/6 of the radius value that was debunked by the black swan that's not allowed to be debated on Cat's show. They're censoring that bit of information from the audience in their echo chamber, with all the caveats about what's not allowed to be discussed about their cropped, cherry-picked image that debunks the Earth sphere. So, we've got quite a few things for you to be getting on with. Last but by no means least, where's your model? A model with drop. We've got this very overt claim that Ranty saw drop. Where is it? Immediately, we had the elevation profiles plotted out to the accuracy level where we've got pre-dredged trawler lanes showing up in the elevation profile with no drop, Ranty. So we've got an extensive list of idiocy that needs addressing from these globe idiots and their Blackpool swan that apparently we're not allowed to talk about, right? Meanwhile, people in the comments think it's damage control here, but yet your side is specifically telling us that we're not allowed to debate certain aspects of this image. Only the cropped image, only your straw man of trig that's from the clown show of cats that doesn't have the fact that the mountain's further away at the top than it is at the bottom when they use feet and inches. So we've got a whole bunch of idiocy from the clown show globe believers, and it all needs to be addressed. What's that, you cry? What's that, I'm being informed from the panel? Brian's not allowed to talk about any of these things. Oh, well, obviously that seems reasonable, given that you're defending the rhetoric of the Western world, that everybody understands and is absolutely true that we're on a sphere. Yeah, so you've got to have lots of concessions in debate and the home turf advantage. And certain aspects of your cherry-picked image not allowed to be discussed. So only the cherry-picked image, right, lads? In your echo chamber with your caveats and your restrictions on what can be talked about when defending something that's supposed to be very much true and everyone understands. Oh, well, I totally understand. It's only reasonable that you have all these caveats at your home turf advantage. Oh my God, if you hadn't figured out as an audience member just how screwed the globe is getting and how quickly the black swan they all hand waved is catching up with this because of cats. Has he figured it out yet? Has he actually come to the conclusion that this was a bad move? And now that we're holding his clown show Trig to task, definitely not a straw man you're burning, cats. It's your clown show Trig. Yeah, maybe check out what Life is Short did. And when you get to actually addressing any of those things we've actually discussed, we'll laugh at your clown show Trig. That show comes out on Saturday, mate. Rumpus didn't get well lawyering for that either. He desperately needed to ascribe it to me and make it my Trig, but it's not, is it, cats? It's yours. And we're all having a good laugh at you for your clown show Trig, mate. The mountain at the top is further away than the bottom. Is this too hard for you?
Nathan,
I'm done.
Take a breath. Can I just ask what would be the topic if you're not allowed to talk about the things that you do want to talk about? What are the things that they'll let you talk about?
You're only allowed to talk about our straw man Trig, because that's your Trig. Brian, the Trig you're allowed to talk about is the straw man I'm burning. You're only allowed to talk about how my Trig's your Trig.
So when they measure the top, when
I
they measure the top of the mountain, and then they're going to calculate based on, they're going to use absolute values, feet and meters, and they're going to plot the base of the mountain to be like to use Ruhif's words, way the fuck down here. That was how he worded it. So they're going to put the base of the mountain somewhere in the bottom half of the, like, below the ground. How are you going to respond to that? Because, like, I know what I would say to that, but or am I giving the game away by asking?
Oh, no, I mean, like, you can't do trigonometry without three straight lines. And I don't see how you can do trigonometry when Blackpool is in your way. But look...
Yeah, because you can't see the base of the mountain.
Yeah, of course. But look...
Wouldn't it be convenient if
maybe I won't be allowed to talk about that.
Wouldn't it be really convenient if there was a little bit of land to the left-hand side where Blackpool was not, so that you could see the base of the mountain? That'd be really helpful, that, wouldn't it?
Well, according to Ranty in one of the comments he left on the video he made yesterday, that he said he could destroy all those arguments in his sleep. Yet they're the very things that we're not allowed to debate him about. We're not allowed to speak about water either. I'm not allowed to speak about water. It's specific. I'm only allowed to speak about their claims and their points involving the two mountains behind Blackpool Tower. It's very, very strict. Nothing else is allowed. I'm not allowed to talk about the full image, the real original image, only the cropped, hidden one that they produced. That's the only thing I'm allowed to talk about. Not allowed to speak about any geometric horizons. Although Ranty says that there is a marker that proves the geometric horizon. He's saying that he has proof of the geometric horizon now.
Well, he must be on about that triangular shape thing.
Exactly.
For the horizon, then.
Well, more than that, he actually says that it is a 12-meter viewing height, and he said that he knows this because he has all the data, and he knows the tide heights on the day. So that means he's directly going against, obviously, Google Earth and that. But anyway, look, there's only certain things I'm allowed to talk about, so you may not hear me say a whole lot while I'm in there, because I think it's more like, come in, and we're going to tell you all our stuff, and show you all our stuff, and you're going to have to just sit there and listen to it. That sounds to me like what they're intending on.
Well, Anthony, I don't know if you want to repeat. I don't know if it was you or John. I got a bit confused during the pre-show, but one of you had an exceptionally good idea in terms of what should be established at the beginning of the show. I think it was Anthony. Was it you, Anthony?
No, John. It was John. Yeah, I think you should just get Ranty or Cats to remind the audience what the restrictions of that debate are. In fact, do you know what? Why don't you request that they have it demonetized?
Pardon?
That's what I did with Fight the Flat Earth.
Well, one thing to do too is just after every assertion they make, kind of point out that, well, the information that would debunk that position isn't being allowed to be presented here.
just sit there
Yeah,
in
I think that's a
silence.
good move. Definitely start at the show. I'd just like you to tell me what we discussed prior to this, and that is precisely what you are restricting. Maybe change it to censoring. What you're censoring from your audience in terms of what you're demanding I'm not allowed to talk about. Not just free to talk about this observation. No, not free to talk about it. Not free to talk about it. Only free to talk about the one we created when we cropped it. Okay? And what about that geometric horizon? You're not allowed to talk about Earth curve. Don't talk about Earth curve, Brian. You're not allowed to talk about geometric horizons and that stuff. That's not fair. Don't talk about
You're
Earth curve.
being told. You're being told what to speak about and what not to speak about.
That's correct, Chocolate.
Oh,
They're setting parameters for you.
Yeah, it's very clearly
Really?
set out what I'm allowed to debate about, and it's going to be on. It won't be on Brandon's. It'll be on Conspiracy Cat's channel because Ranty won't debate on Brandon's. I'm just going to find here what Ranty the terms that Ranty sent me 1 second yesterday evening, so you can hear them. One moment.
Wow. This is pathetic.
It is.
It is.
pathetic.
So
It's
you're going
absurd.
on a debate, but you're not allowed to debate.
It's
Yeah.
absolutely pathetic.
What I would do is I would say that the rebuttal to your point is restricted by the terms of this debate, so I'll just relinquish the rest of my time without comment.
Yep. Yeah, you'll win because people will have to look into it because it'll.
Yeah,
just
I
drive them
agree. That's the
crazy.
best way of dealing with it.
Well, don't tell Brian how to do it. It's up to him how he plays this. It's his bag, right?
I'll have to just do it as it happens because I can't see the future, isn't that it? I don't know what's going to happen, so I just have to go with it. You know.
I think you're going to lose by default on this one, to be honest. No matter how good you are, if you win the clip, you
Well,
can't fly.
I think the reason this is happening is because the initial high they got from having every bit of consensus behind them has wore off. I said this initially. Oh yeah, that'll last for a little bit until they hear us all laughing at them, and then they want to tell us what's what. And now they've laid out terms, got you in their echo chamber, given you the caveats about what you can and can't talk about, only their cherry-picked image, don't mention Earth curve. Let's just get the ground rules when you come to us on our home turf so that you don't mention anything embarrassing. So then we can embarrass you and feel good for a few more minutes. A few more minutes. That's how long it'll last. We'll still be here laughing at you regardless of the outcome, lads. Yeah? With all your caveats and rules. When you declare victory, do you think that'll change us laughing at you? Clown show trig, friends. Check it out, it's coming out on Saturday. Rumpus had to be asked 10 times. He said, "What's wrong? You tell me what's wrong with Cat's clown show trig." I said, "The top of the mountain's further away." He had to obfuscate that Father Ted explanation over 10 times because he knows he's got nowhere to go. That's what Katz has lumbered Rumpus with. I bet he's fuming.
I'm confused as to why somebody that declares themselves to be like the master of optics, why would they inhibit or prohibit certain aspects of a debate that literally is about optics? I don't
You want
get
to
it.
know why? I'll tell you why. Because the Earth is obviously observably and measurably flat, and we have a very unique opportunity, thanks to Conspiracy Cats, to highlight that, and highlight all of the failings of the begging the question, proof of nothing, perspective hijacking Earth curve calculator, and its tangent point horizon that used to be claimed to be Earth curve, getting in the way of things like the Isle of Man. Very, very handy. Because the Earth's obviously and observably flat, and these clowns want to burn that idea, they have to create little straw men with trig from their clown show arsenal of understanding of perspective. And they say, that's what flat earthers say. And we go, no, check out this 5-hour presentation on what perspectives claim to be when we exclude all aspects of weather and try in our feeble attempts, and I'm going to say it like it is, even with all of those explanations, our attempts to explain this are feeble. But by comparison, Cat's attempt to hold up his explanation with his angular size changes and his basic trig are so retarded. It's beyond laughable. Beyond a joke. And he wants to ascribe that to us as the flat earth so he can feel a little bit better for a few moments about the earth not being a sphere. About him not having the geometric earth curve edge tangent point horizon debunked by his own imagery that you're not allowed to talk about because we're only allowed to look at the cherry pick bit, aren't we, lads? And we're not allowed to talk about the geometric horizon. That's earth curve, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah? We are being told as flat earthers not
Given
This
that
is
Andrew,
sorry, John. Go on.
given that Andrew Thomas Young used a flat plane to demonstrate refraction, did they take that into account when they were modeling? I'm putting fingers up, doing that. Modeling what we claim.
They haven't modelled it. We've shown it flat, no drop, with an elevation profile from Google Earth. Very, very, very up to date. We said, there we go, that's us as flat earthers modelling it. There you go. It's flat. Have they provided an alternative? No, it's on the list. I detailed it at the beginning of the show. They haven't come up with an equivalent. They're not showing us it with drop. They're just saying it. And then doing clown show trig on images of mountains that are obscured by things in the distance. Say, yeah, we know the angular size, even though we can't see it. They're complete idiots.
This is the basic of what Ranty. This came in at 7:22 yesterday morning from Ranty. This is what he just reiterated this over and over again, and then he made it very precise in the video that he made yesterday evening. Okay, so this is what he sent me. Okay, well, let's be clear what we are debating then. The presentation that was out on the Baldy Catch channel. This is the evidence submitted by me for the reason I changed position. Dale Craig, Brimfell and Blackpool Tower. The images provided by Kevin and Bev, he's talking about Kevin Jackson, and Bev would show the three locations mentioned above, and the analysis done using trig, pixels and visual markings on the two mountains mentioned above. The video of the presentation can be found here. Right. These three locations to be discussed as they are most definitely visible, identifiable and unmistakable, with known distances and elevations that cannot be mistaken for anything else. An eye level can certainly be determined. If we can stick to the topic above, we can get this debate organised, either on Brandon's or agree to disagree. Now, he changed that from not agree to disagree, or from not Brandon's. He won't debate on Brandon's then. Absolutely not, and only go on to agree to disagree or one of Cat's channels, which they're all Cats. So he could just continued on with that afterwards and just dug his heels in more and just didn't want to hear about anything about a debate on Friday on Brandon's. He went on and on and on, and eventually then he made a video claiming that I was running away from the debate and that he was going to debate anyone on agree to disagree or Cat's channels, and that they were only going to talk about the photo that was shown, the portion of the photo that was shown on Cats or in their presentation, and only going to talk about the two mountains and Blackpool Tower. So like he just
but if
reiterates
you're
what
the
he's saying.
master of optics, if you're the master of optics, wouldn't you want to debate every aspect of whatever picture if what you think is your evidence is that strong?
No, he's just explained that, Chocolate. He's just gone through a list of things that he made as statements of fact, and then says you can discuss these statements I am claiming to be certitudes. These positions are facts. Now we can discuss those, but let's make it clear what we can and can't talk about.
He states them clearly then as we go on, as these are the parameters, and that's what he'll talk about. And he won't. The debate won't be about anything else, and these are the parameters, and it's going to be about that. And you're not allowed to talk about other things. Not allowed to talk about water or the left side of the image or any of these things. But he done. Once I accepted the debate last night, suddenly he came out with comments, not to me but to other people, saying, or I'm not sure if one of them was to me, but he was stating that, he debunked any of those other claims, yet they're the very things that we're not allowed to talk about. So the guy is completely off his rocker.
I think it's totally ridiculous. All of a sudden, there's rules what you could debate about when we're discussing the nature of our reality. Unreal.
I tell you what I find really interesting with the use of the word ridiculous. He's claiming that people are, quote, running away, but it seems that people are queuing up. It seems that there's Bev, he's accepted Summit. Flatzoid, he seems to have accepted Summit, and so has Brian. It doesn't seem like people are running away, but Ranty's saying that to make people try and think that. It's like, what's going on there? That's silly.
Well, it's just the same as ever. It's projection. They're running away. Yeah, I need to go to this particular location at this particular time with these particular rules. You see, he's running away. That's what he's doing. He's projecting.
Exactly. That's what it sounds like.
It honestly isn't worth even having a debate when it's like that. It's just not worth doing.
It would be worth it just to point out that they are censoring the information that's contrary to their point.
Yep.
That's what would make it worth it.
This is what he said to me after I had made it clear that there was all these things and not allowed to talk about it. He said, oh, LOL, this is one of his last messages to me after I accepted the debate. LOL, that us guys hid, question mark, right? Because I was talking about them hiding the part of the photograph. You are funny, those claims I could debunk with my eyes closed, but it is simply an obfuscation from the point and can be addressed on another debate. Why can't it be addressed on that one? You know what I mean? He doesn't want to have a debate. Like, he didn't want to talk about it. I wasn't allowed to mention water or the left side of the photograph or anything else. Any of these things. And I wasn't allowed to be on Brandon's and all this kind of stuff. And as soon as I accept all these parameters and go on to Cat's channel, he has no problem with any of it. And he debunked it all with his eyes closed.
Yeah, well, just ask him to. You said you could debunk all this stuff with your eyes closed, therefore it wasn't important. Well, I'd like Katz's audience to hear that. Debunk it all then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, he obviously has his eyes closed already.
You can start, Ranty, with top of the mountain's far away, bottom of the mountain is close. And we'll go from there. Now, bearing in mind, Brian, that Ranty sat through a very lengthy explanation on perspective from Life is Short, one of my Patreons, we'd expect him to know this sort of stuff. I mean, Cats we can just laugh at, but Ranty this is unforgivable, Ranty. I mean, come on. You know what the score is when it comes to perspective. It's definitely not your basic trig. And further to that, I just say it one more time, because obviously Rumpus couldn't cope with 10 renditions of this statement. The top of the mountain is far, the bottom of the mountain is closer. Yeah? Is that hard to understand?
You gotta say it just like that, though.
Could you break that down a little bit more? I don't know if they might, if they're getting it in the back.
Okay. The mountain slopes away from you.
Do you guys remember when he used to show the pictures of the boats, and one of them had the word, I think it had the word Stenner on it, and he showed that the plimsoll line underneath the boat could still be seen. I think it was like a dark red or a dark brown, and he was showing how it was optically compressed in the image for whatever reason, and it made it appear squashed. Well, the mountain does the same thing, Ranty. How are you going to get around that?
That's the reason I'm like, when I first heard this, I was like, wait, the same dude who had, what was the word on the boat? I forget.
I think it was Stenner.
Yeah, what, Stenner line? Stenner, right?
So.
Something like that?
I think so, yeah.
With that compression, like, I was like, wait, this is the guy that showed this, and now this is what he's saying about this observation? This is the same guy? Really? This is insane, man.
What, liars?
Well,
liars,
sorry,
you mean?
Nathan.
Yeah, liars. Just say it like it is chocolate. Yeah, that's right. People who are on the globe side are liars. Now, while Ranty was called a liar for the duration of his flat earth stay, he's now obviously completely credible. He's being held up as a poster child. He's debating flat earthers. Oh, right. So not so dishonest after all, then? You all judged him badly? Right. Yeah. No, not at all. The reality is more projection. They are all liars. Ranty is now lying. He damn well knows it. Right? So I wouldn't be at all surprised if he starts projecting that onto Brian. Well, you're a liar. You're dishonest.
Yeah. I love the fact that Ranty went from one of the most dishonest flirters to like honest overnight just because he jumped ship. It's astonishing.
Yeah, it is astonishing. You know, they accepted him so easy.
Yeah.
Stop it. He's a famous flat earther.
That's how cults work.
Exactly. welcoming back into the fold with open arms, cult members. I can lie on your behalf now, make you all feel a little bit better for a while. I mean, it would have been better if the straw man you tried to hold up because you got Ranty on your side now would have worked, but obviously that's now become Cat's clown show trig instead, because it's him claiming it. Yeah? Epic. Talking of perspective, obviously, back to the beginning of the show when I highlighted the extra thing that's now being added to the list, which is the real thing we want to discuss here, which is that they've got a begging the question, proof of nothing, perspective hijacking Earth curve calculator, and they refracted targets with respect to the horizon back when we were debating about the Isle of Man. They had this lighthouse. Shh, don't mention the lighthouse. They had this lighthouse moving up and down with respect to the geometric horizon they were claiming to prove. Yeah? That's a big problem if you're Ruhif, and you've drawn a straight line to it and argued that we don't need perspective in the begging the question, proof of nothing, perspective hijacking Earth curve calculator. What do you mean we need perspective? Flurfspective? We don't need that, it's geometric, they told us. Now, Ruhif has been telling Anthony that actually perspective is incorporated in 7/6 of a radius when you assume that light bends around an atmosphere. Well, no, Ruhif. They're very different words. Your refraction isn't even refraction, mate. It's 7/6 of a radius in standard form. Definitely not refraction. But you think it's not refraction either, it's perspective. No, clown. But that's the whole point of the argument back at the Isle of Man, and that's why we're thanking cats now, aren't we? Because you're perspective omitting. Oh, what's that? Actually perspective hijacking. Yeah? What's that 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet? Oh, check it out in the Rayleigh criterion. Why is it 1.22 in the Rayleigh criterion? We'll come to that later. Yeah, all of those things that you ignored that we detailed with Life is Short when we were talking about perspective. Now, that's definitely not 7/6 of a radius, Ruhif. Do you think that was going to slide by? But thank you so much that we can put the thumb screws on you as a glober, pretending, I think I'll make it a bit stronger, lying about refraction being perspective, Ruhif. No, mate. Flurfspective, right? Geometric, doesn't need perspective, right? Side view, no perspective, whole values that don't scale when the mountain at the top is further than the bottom. That's not perspective in your maths, Ruhif. Now, that was our point back at the Isle of Man now, wasn't it? That's where it ended. And until now, no segue. Thanks, cats. So, Ruhif, perspective is not refraction. Your refraction isn't even refraction. So what gives? You think refraction should be perspective now? Well, no, it isn't. But clearly you think it should be in there as you're telling us all about it. But it isn't, Ruhif. I'll say it one more time. Your perspective hijacking curve calculator turns everything side on and gives feet and inches values or meters so that you can exclude perspective. Now, if you're saying, well, actually the refraction value, different word, Ruhif, basic English, mate. You're saying that's perspective. Wrong. That's not flurfspective, mate. No. Your justification for why you used the geometry was that you don't need perspective, it's geometric. So no, Ruhif. But nice that you are now realising that it should be in there. Because we're going to put the thumb screws on you and every other fundy about this Earth curve calculator that used to claim it proved Earth curve was the horizon for boats to go over. To fall over your edge that you all deny now. Earth curve doesn't exist beyond your maths. That's void, given that the horizon that was actually blocking the bottom of this lighthouse is actually refracted, unlike your maths that you did, Ruhif. Anyway, that's a side issue, given that you're now saying perspective's in the maths. It isn't, Ruhif. But it should be, and that's why it's void. So we're going to focus on that for the predominance of this live show. Ruhif's lies about refraction being perspective in their maths. It's not perspective, definitely not refraction. And I'll say it one more time, your refraction isn't even refraction. Right, I'm done. Ruhif's a clown.
Yeah, that's
So refraction is now the thing that flat earthers made up years ago. That's what you're saying. The thing we were charged with making up and using as just a get out of jail free card for everything. Now that's their argument.
Well, it's been like that.
Is that
for
what's
a while,
going on here?
Infinity refraction, wasn't it? It's like, you know, like how we always take the mick and say that gravity is their band-aid to everything. If you need something fixing, gravity fixes it. Well, when it comes to the application of real world like optics, that's what they do. Anything that they can't explain or anything that doesn't jive with their model, refraction, just the same as gravity.
And
Yeah,
now
well,
it's at the stage
Go on,
where
John.
we're saying, same as we did at the end of the Isle of Man, you don't have any perspective, and they're saying, well, Ruhif's saying refraction. Yeah, I think you're stuck in Tourette's mode there, mate. You can't bark refraction when we're saying, yeah, you're putting perspective into these equations, but it isn't in the equations. Yeah, it is. Refraction. You utter clown, Ruhif. But thank you again. Because, yeah, we're going to be holding that to task from now on, and we're going to be pointing out that, no, it definitely doesn't have perspective, or perspective in those maths, when you ascribe things like 100-foot lighthouse with 1,000 or 1,000,000 or 10 million miles to it, because it's still 100 feet, right? Yeah, that doesn't work with perspective now, Ruhif. Definitely not refraction either, mate. And definitely not a tangent to a horizon. You used to use this very maths to claim that the horizon got in the way of stuff. You had a hidden value for how much the tangent point got in the way of stuff. And you told us how much in feet and inches, excluding perspective, was blocked by the horizon that got in the way of stuff. Now we don't even see it. Now nobody claims the horizon's Earth curve, even though there it is in your maths that you used to say got in the way of the Isle of Man now, didn't you, Ruhif? When you personally drew tangents to horizons, Ruhif, and told us that we didn't need perspective, Ruhif. Now you're saying that you're a fractions perspective, idiot. Oh no, Ruhif. Yeah, go and get your English acumen assessed. Yeah, they're very different words, very different things, and the very thing you're justifying in your geometry was an excuse for why you didn't have perspective 3 years ago, Ruhif, when you drew that tangent to a horizon that doesn't exist anymore to block the Isle of Man. Thanks, cats.
Yeah, but unfortunately, Roofy, whatever his name is one of those clowns that will just bend in the definitions of words. I mean, I've listened to him once or twice on devs, and he'll just deny the definition of a word. Just change it. Like, oh, I don't care that that's the definition. Like, what? What do you mean? Word is defined a certain way, man. How are you just going to deny that?
Because he's got a very poor understanding of English. That's the bottom line. So he has it pointed out that refraction and perspective are different words. What's he going to say? Oh, I don't accept that words mean what they mean. Refraction!
Right.
This is them just looking to use the word perspective to help support our globe. Because perspective is not in their
perspective.
Yeah, because it's not in their mathematics. They don't have anything. They have a geometrical mathematical model, and then they have mathematical only refractive calculations that are based off of that. They're not real world. It's not real world refraction. It's only mathematical refraction based off of a mathematical model.
Notice that Brian said the word refraction when talking about light bending around atmosphere, sphere-shaped air in violation of the second law of thermodynamics on a globe based on R and its geometry. He didn't once say the word perspective because they're different things. Yet, it seems Ruhif is definitely discussing how perspective is in the calculator. You think perspective's in the calculator, do you? How many times were we told that we don't need perspective because it's geometric, Ruhif? But you now think it's in there? No, it's not, but it should be, because perspective is real. Yeah, things get smaller, like the top of the mountain, smaller, further away than the bottom, Ruhif. So your little ruler's not gonna cut it. Yeah? You clowns with your basic clown show trig. Yeah, you're being humiliated by flat earthers daily now.
Well, since we've discussed things that aren't allowed to be talked about, does that mean that their point stands?
I think, yeah, if you stick your head in the sand and have only home's turf advantage for every single discussion that ever takes place, which you caveat, and lay down rules and stipulations about only the censored image that's cropped and cherry-picked being discussed, and only their points which you accept in the first instance before even stepping foot into their home turf with all of their rules, then they can think that they've won for a few moments and pat themselves on the back. Well, we have a good chuckle about their censorship of the truth, which they cropped in the first place. Now, if the tables were turned as they were, we got constantly accused of fiddling with images and to the minutiae detail where it had Ranty lining up extra images, creating composites to make them wider and more expansive. Meanwhile, now he's a glober, only the cropped image, right? Gone are the days of expansion out of those images with panoramics and composites that Ranty produced so we could see more. No. Now it's only the cherry-picked one. Because he's on the globe now, and he needs every advantage, doesn't he? Because we're not on a globe. And to lie about it, you need every advantage.
Well, Brian's like right now he's like Mike Tyson, because somebody wants to fight Mike Tyson, and they say, listen, we're going to fight, but you can't throw any punches, Mike.
Yeah, well, it's obvious
Basically.
that there's fear involved, isn't there? Because why would you need all these stipulations and need it to be on? He won't even go onto Brandon's channel, what used to be his channel. He won't even do
Yeah.
it there.
That's what I'm
It's like-
saying. They
Why would you need all that?
Can you imagine saying to Mike Tyson, right? You can fight Evander Holyfield, but you're not allowed to use your uppercuts. Well, that was his
or you
trademark
can't
move.
bite.
Thought you were about to say you're not allowed to
You
use your
can't bite
teeth.
either, yeah.
We're going to play a chess game, but you can't move any of your pieces.
And you
Yeah,
can't
you
say
can't play the
checkmate.
queen.
And you're not allowed to say checkmate.
Okay. I don't think we need any more analogies. I think the audience gets it. Thank you very much.
You can play rock, paper, or scissors, but you can't use rock or paper.
That's the best one. I'm glad you got that in because that was the best one, to be fair, Anthony. Right, I'm just going to read out a few super chats. So shout out to Unicorn Laser Eyes, who said, I heard Ranty's drone flew away with his P1000. Anyone seen either lately? Hashtag Ranty Flat Water. Thank you very much, Unicorn Laser Eyes, for the super chat. Really appreciate the support. Also, shout out to Godzilla37. Got a joke for you. What's the difference between Ranty and a POS? Question mark. No answer from Godzilla, but thank you very much for the super chat. Really appreciate it. Oh, got another one from Godzilla. I don't know either. That's the response. Oh, what a day. What a lovely, lovely day.
What do you call a person? What do you call a person who doesn't want the evidence shown before coming to a decision, but reverses it and says, this is what it is, and then says you can't provide the evidence? What do you call that person?
A clown?
Delusional.
Well, this is the way the ballers act. They pre-assume something, and then you want to come, or anyone wants to come and show evidence that breaks down that presupposition. And they say, no, because in my mind I think it has to be so, and I don't want to see the left side of that picture because that will destroy my presupposition.
Well, he's already claiming after I accepted the debate, he's claiming that, like, I see him in comments, like he has all that sorted, it's all debunked and blah, blah, blah. You know, you can debunk all that, no bother. Like, what I read out was only part of what I've seen him write his comments to other people on his video. Like, he's basically stating that's not a problem for him. Yet it's the very things we're not allowed to talk about. So I'm not going to talk about any of those things. I'm going to stick to specifically what they are claiming, what they did, and their process, and we'll see what their claim is made of.
Very admirable. Very, very admirable. You're saying, yeah, I know they're tying my shoelaces together, putting one hand behind my back, and handing me a blunt spoon to fight with. But we'll see how they get on. In other words, Brian is so confident that even with his shoelaces tied together, one hand behind his back and a spoon that he's been given, he still thinks he can win. That's the bottom line here, isn't it, Brian?
Yeah, absolutely. I still know that even with all those things against me, it comes down to the strength of their claim. And if their claim was any good and had any strength, they wouldn't need all this.
Yeah, you're going to burn in there like a burning angel. La! Hello, lads.
Well, the only claim they had in reality was a dip angle, but their calculations for the radius now ignore that dip angle. I don't know where they go from there.
The same direction you went?
Yeah, it's obvious, isn't it? Obvious, observable, measurable.
Yeah, Earth is flat. Now, you can cherry pick your evidence to have a selective belief about something that doesn't manifest in reality at all, doesn't measure in reality at all, you can't model in reality at all, and then you can lie about it. And demand that your opponent, when you've got the home advantage, sets all of your rules in motion when debating with you, because that's only reasonable, right?
May I ask John, for the
Right.
sake of the
sorry.
for the sake of the audience, to give us how his life changed once he understood the dip angle? If you can give that brief testimony, John.
Yeah. Well, I started asking questions at work, and I lost my job. So don't do that. If you figure it out, don't don't run around at work asking people questions, because people don't want to know. It seems like.
Yeah, but obviously Brian has the truth on his side. The Earth is flat. I mean, he has the obvious on his side.
That's true, but we're
All
now
they could do is
we're now
lie.
into father of a stolen child's emergent story. Neil.
It's not done.
No, he's not.
Well,
no.
John,
Nothing.
what was the industry, if you don't mind me asking? What was the industry again?
I was the instrumentation technician at Oak Ridge Nuclear Facility.
All right.
What kind of
I have
instrument?
a
It's just we'll come to that at the end, right? If you can answer 10th man's question, then we'll come to all of these things.
well, I know it's not a globe now. I know it's measured flat. It doesn't really change who you are. It changes how you look at everything, though. Everything's kind of new again.
I'm sorry.
There's answers that need
I'm
to
really
be
sorry
had
to
out
do
there.
this. I'm sure he's fishing not for the ethereal hippie version of your coming to flat Earth, more the fact that up until the point that you transitioned from globe Earth to flat, they had one thing to cement their claim of geometric measurements for globe Earth, and that was that they could measure it. Well, as soon as you refract the horizon, you can't measure it. That's the end of the argument.
Right. Yeah, that was. You have nowhere to go from there. You can't do the calculation if you can't get a measurement.
I'm sorry, John. I thought you were done before.
All right, don't worry about it. But instrumentation for something that's specifically related to the topic. I thought of how I could phrase it to you there, John. Just because if it does, I'm going to go along with Chocolate's line of questioning.
Oh, that was it. It's pretty simple. It is what it is.
In your old job,
Sorry.
were the instruments related to the subject matter? Was that why you were fired? If not, obviously it's just unrelated, you just being a conspiratard or something.
Well, yeah. I worked with pressurized systems. So, like the gas pressure without a container one. I think that upset some people because they complained.
Oh wow! So it did
So
directly relate
basically,
to.
John, you took the opportunity to share your newfound information with colleagues and thought it was a safe place to have a conversation, and you found out otherwise.
Yep.
But it's just interesting to me that you were talking specifically about pressure, so it was directly related.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I work with pressure all the time. I never really thought about it in the context of this discussion before then, until the Black Swan, and then it it didn't have to be a sphere anymore. But if it's not, then it doesn't have to be a vacuum for that sphere to work in. And then it's like everything just collapsed.
Just going off of what John is saying, for anyone out there who is listening, John was holding a much more important position than, let's just say, Katz or Roofy or Ranty has ever held. His position working in a nuclear facility was obviously a position of a lot of responsibility. And John, if anyone speaks with him, would find out he's very educated through his own through the education he got and the education he gave himself. So if John knows that it can't be a globe now because there isn't a source measurement possible, then that should give everyone out there all the confidence in the world that all these other people are just wrong.
Well, I based a lot of what I know on what I can measure. If I can't measure it, I don't waste time believing it usually.
Exactly, because what are you trying to measure if you can't measure it? What are you trying to do? All you can do is calculate a belief.
Well, that calculation was based on a dip angle to a geometric position.
Yeah, and John, at any point while you were a Glober, which was up until January 2020, did anyone state that refraction was perspective with confidence?
No, the previous position was the objects that you see that should be hidden behind the horizon are being raised up by looming 7/6R. Because I thought there was that measured radius value, and it had to be light bending around the sphere for you to see that object.
And
How do you loom
Sorry,
the ground?
You can't.
You don't. There's no such thing as a refracted horizon.
would you agree, John, that geometry is a particular set of definite calculations, and refraction is a set of calculations based off of, in general, based off of weather and temperature and stuff, and perspective is a visual optical thing that is affected by weather, but it's not based, but refractive calculations do not take any perspective calculations or anything to do with eyesight into account. Would you agree with all that?
I'm not sure. See, let me think on it for a minute.
How do you get from the eyesight to the calculations without some sort of measurement?
You don't.
That's a good point.
You don't. Number one, you can't get to the measurement if you haven't got an R value to get. But when they reify an R value into existence, even though they can't measure it, they've still got the side of your own head in the mathematics. It's not you looking through your eyeball at something with perspective. It's something that's excluded perspective and put you in the shot. So you take a picture and you go, I wonder what the Earth curve maths says about this. You go to the Earth curve maths, and immediately you and the target are in the picture. So it's absolutely nothing like what you've taken a picture of. You've taken a picture of potentially the horizon. And they're saying, well, no, when you see the side of your own head and draw a line between you and the target and say that the target is a certain number of feet in inches or meters, and that value will not change with any distance, even though in your picture it's got small because it's far away, whatever you're looking at. Well, not in our maths, because you're seeing the side of your own head. You're not seeing lines of sight. You're seeing geometric reifications in Muppet vision. Like I say, where you see the side of your own head.
I've just posted in the war room. Same as yesterday's picture, but it's exactly that point. They're the two orthographic views that they ask you to go to from the photograph. Point they've always took us to is the bottom one. The point we're kind of making with them here is the double dip. QE asked me, could we get one from the line of sight through Blackpool Tower to the peaks behind? So that's a different line of sight to yesterday's. And I put Blackpool Tower on there at the right height with the Y scale as well. And X, obviously. But that kind of shows it. That's the two. The maths they're asking you to take from that picture, which is nonsense enough when we do it. Just try and pretend you can go from one to the other and they're comparable. Demonstrate that, but even more so when you see the top side elevation played out on their ball geometry, which is the thing they keep trying to pass off as perspective, but that's the two together.
Right. And when I say Muppet vision, this is what I'm talking about. So where, I'll just for the audience's benefit, circle it with my mouse, where you've got the target on the right and the observer on the left. Well, observer on the left, is the photographer in the Blackpool Swimming image, right? Is he there to make it make sense in their begging the question, proof of nothing, perspective hijacking Earth curve calculator that takes place in an orthographic view where you see the side of your own head? So presumably, because it represents reality according to them, even though they haven't got an R value to base the maths on anymore, has it got the photographer's head in the image? The answer's no.
No.
But that's what they have to do to remove perspective. Thank you, Adam.
I would like to say to Adam, just on this little diagram, that I saw Ranty speak about this in a comment on his video yesterday, and he said that Adam had too much curve in his diagram. It's like, you can't. Sorry.
It will be exaggerated, and that's because the X and Y scales are different. Now, if I was to plot it exactly, then it would look a lot less curved, but it would be a very tiny thin line, and you wouldn't really see it if you kept the X and Y scales exactly the same. But what we've got is different X and Y scales. But if you can see the thin yellow line, that's the point. The top of that peak is set up to be where it would actually geometrically be with regards to the observer. So yes, I suppose if you're being a bit dim and didn't understand how differential axes work and that it's a diagram at this point, this is an explanation. You would
Adam.
when you
Sorry,
apply
Adam.
the
Sorry.
numbers.
Sorry, Adam.
Correct.
Just before you continue, I'm sorry to interrupt. Brian, are you telling me that Ranty's criticising Adam's good nature, doing them a favour and producing the model that they cannot produce? Now, bearing in mind the top image is your globe claim. Now, Adam has done you a favour. What you say, you don't like it? Where's yours? This is Adam's, right?
Yeah.
This isn't
Yes.
your model, Roofy, Ranty, Cats. Adam's done this. Yeah? Why? Well, because it doesn't do it in Google Earth. There's supposed to be drop, and there isn't, and he's critiquing the drop that Adam's introduced because it's not there. Just produce a similar modelled elevation profile with drop. This is your claim, Ranty. You think you're going to critique Adam? Yet bearing in mind that the one at the top doesn't exist. It's not part of Google Earth. Definitely part of models that you haven't produced, Ranty. So chop. What is it, a week and a half? Day one, we pointed out the straw man. Day two, we pointed out that you haven't got a model to compare this to. Day three, we've got clown show trig. Hello? Mountain at the top, far away. Mountain at the bottom, close. We've also got the black swan that we're being told we're not allowed to talk about. Only the cherry-picked image. Yeah? And we've got 4 observer heights for this crap. 4 observer heights. 2 of which have come from the very people peddling it. Ranty and Cats. Cats has come from the bottom modelled elevation profile on a flat plane. Number 1, every one of his cohorts on the globe side has told Anthony how it's absolutely outrageous to get an elevation height for a photographer's position from Google Earth. That's an outrage. Now, further to that, well, we now know why it's an outrage. Well, because it's a flat Earth representation. So we'll definitely be using it. Yeah? So do plenty of professionals who build stuff. But it's not dropping away. That's your very claim, Ranty. But you're going to critique the fact that Adam's showing how it's not dropping away and how his comparison where what it should do and you should have produced by now, you're saying that's not quite good enough. Oh, well, maybe Adam should chop and get to producing your model that actually shows the drop you're claiming a bit better, Ranty? That's reasonable. Yeah? Any more caveats? Adam, I think it's only reasonable that you now go and produce a better globe elevation profile model for Ranty, because he's so incompetent he can't produce one himself, and he's going to critique yours. The audacity and stupidity. Off the scale. Meanwhile, 4 observer heights.
Their
Nathan?
biggest problem with what Adam did is that he showed curve. Sorry, Kent. He showed curve because that's a problem for them. Any curve that is shown goes against their model. What I mean by that is That is not reality. So when you show them curves, you're showing them something that isn't reality. So they can't have any curve be shown. They can only have curve be believed, but they certainly can't have it be shown.
They can't even have it be talked about. He's told you you're not allowed to discuss the geometric horizon, and the only part of the image that shows what they formally claim to be blocking boats, buildings, mountains, islands, you name it, that's the only bit of the image that's got that, and you're told you're not allowed to talk about Earth curve. You're not allowed to talk about curve. When you show it, it's not quite right, even though it's not their model. It's like, hello, what we're showing is the bottom section that anybody at any time of the day can go and look at the flat plane we dwell atop, measured and presented for people to work with when they build stuff. That's the bottom one, the flat one, the one that we showed immediately. The top one, that's not produced by Ranty or Katz or Ruhif or any other glober, but that's the one that's supposed to be the one you're producing. We're showing you what you're supposed to be doing, not doing it for you, you idiot. How thick are these people? I mean, it's beyond thick at this point. I mean, seriously, they need to get assessed. I mean, I'm going to say it one more time for Ruhif, who thinks perspectives in the calculator. What perspectives in there, Ruhif? Yeah, mountain at the top is far away. Yeah, you remember when you presented some rulers to Adam and rubbed the top of the ruler off, Ruhif? Yeah, that didn't slip us by either. So clearly somewhere you recognise that the scales aren't working. Yeah, scales not working, multiple rulers needed because mountain at the top far away, mountain at the bottom close. Is this sinking in, Ruhif? Also, Ruhif, that's not perspective when you point Anthony in the direction of refraction at the rate of R we've debunked. That's a different word. I don't know about your English comprehension and your justification that words don't have their meanings. In this case, it's not even the same word, my friend. It's your justification for why you didn't have perspective. Right? Geometry. Oh, why would we have perspective in our calculator? Ruhif seems to think it's in there now labelled refraction because he doesn't understand English.
What did
There's
Huey
a point
say?
on this graph here, just before we round out, that we were talking about with Brian yesterday in terms of the different peak heights being at different distances from the observer. And if you look at the bottom one here, all the three major peaks, look, are roughly the same height, but you can see the top one's highest, middle one, first one next, and then the one at the back just slightly lower. If you look at what happens to the differentials from the differentials of the peak heights from this observer's point of view, when you put the curve on, you see that the one at the back becomes significantly shorter because it's further away. So more curvature is applied, more cumulative curvature is applied, and the relationship between the first and the second changes as well. Look, that's what I was talking about yesterday when I did the Photoshop with the skyline. How if you were to apply it to every single mountain, it would really pervert it. Some would be dropping further.
To be fair, to
Just
emphasise
before
that,
you go,
need
Anthony,
the
hold on.
diagonal line.
Hold on, Anthony. Sorry. Adam's going to be getting the last word here with a bit of additions from me. So what Adam's showing you is what you would be doing. That's how he just phrased it. If you did it. So he's giving an example of what you haven't done yet. Not so you can say, Adam, you need to do it better. No, Ranty, we're saying, here's what your model would be doing had you have produced one, like the one we've produced where we show the Earth to be measured flat. Yeah, that's what we've got and anyone else can get it. Also, the 4 observer heights, one of which has come from this. You were there, Auntie, when we were told, no, not allowed to use Google Earth for heights, for whatever reason you all gave us. And no, Google Earth's not a globe Earth model, we were told. So, okay, we've got all that clear. So what the hell is he getting the observer heights for? So you can claim that when you use your basic trig, your clown show trig, that you can claim drop? Well, where is it? It's not in what you haven't given us yet. Here's an example of what you haven't provided, Ranty. That's not so that you can tell us to do better with what you haven't got. It's so you know what you haven't got so you can go and get it. We're in the middle of week 2, day 2. We said, you haven't got this. Here's what we've got and everyone else has got the same. Flat. So go and get it. along with figuring out how the bloody observer height actually relates to all of this, given you haven't given that either. So a couple of quick shout outs. Anthony, do you want to get the last word in? Actually, that was a bit unfair. I'll shout out super chats if Anthony can hear me. You can get the last word in.
Sorry, very quickly, Nathan.
Yeah.
There is two things causing obstruction. If you take a line from their observer height to the mountains with Blackpool in the way, right, the line goes up in the air and hits a piece of land. But then that piece of land is blocking all. If you try and go up above that piece of land with a line from the observer in this orthographic view here that Google shows, then you will go up. You'll be hitting high up on a peak behind it. So you're missing a load of stuff because you're being occulted. That's just with two parts. That's not even taking in all the other parts. Just with two, just Blackpool and the first piece of land that you hit due to your eye line being lifted because of Blackpool, you're being occulted twice. And that alone, if you take those two pieces that you're actually seeing due to the occultation, I guarantee it matches the photo exactly.
Indeed. Anthony, did you have a last word to get in? I'll hold the show open.
Yeah, Meekin, if you were to put the line that you've got on that top part, if you were to put that as a diagonal line from the observer height of 0 or 19 feet and then show the diagonal line looking up through the tower, you'd then see the effect of the curvature relative to the effect of non-curvature.
Yeah, ignore that yellow line for you. That yellow line was for me. Like I said, what I've done here is take the effect curvature has and where it would place the peak relative to the distance. So that yellow line is just for me to draw a line across from the other side on that scale, because I'm going to pervert it, a bend in it here. I'm only warping, and I'll take criticism of any Photoshop skills, but that yellow line is there just for me to place that back peak where it needs to be at the relative height due to the drop that would be applied that far away that would have accumulated, you see. So it's just for me to position it. It's not a line of sight or anything.
Perfect. Thank you for the disclaimer. Also, shout out to Mike808 for sending me a squirrel with a paintbrush, and also shout out to LV23 for smashing the super chat with your super sticker as well. Really appreciate the support. You said thank you. Thank you very much indeed to you also. Also, a massive thank you to both Discord and G+ panels for making today's live show possible. If you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley premiering streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. So another massive thank you for smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, or becoming a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member. I've been Nathan Oakley. Stay tuned if you're watching on a premiering stream, and I'll see you all in the next video.
What a lovely day!
To take the mic, just to show them that what they should be doing, this is the diagram, an accurate, correct one, that they should be doing to put their trig on. They're still not. They're still using this bottom one to take the trig. It's a farce. But it's just to highlight that point to them. It's certainly not for them to take numbers off. But it should surely demonstrate the point so that they could understand it at this fundamental level.
Got a thank you at the end, Sleeping Warrior. So Shatner's bassoon said thanks at Sleeping Warrior. And Logan Drum was like, what? No housekeeping? No housekeeping today.
Well, in lieu of housekeeping, all we did was bring attention to the geometric limitations of an R-based globe, and they came up short.
Yep.
Because if Earth is a sphere with a radius of 3,959 miles, then every horizon distance measurement must be no more than, get it? No more than 1.225 times the square root of the observer's height in feet.
1.21 gigawatts.
So Earth is not a sphere. And this is what John alluded to when the measurement that he thought existed actually did not exist.
Right. Well, the calculation that you do afterwards, you can't use that calculation to nullify your measurement. That makes no sense at all, but that's what they're doing.
That's a valid point. Logan's runners just put, Ranty believes it's locally flat so as not to invalidate all of his work. That's exactly what's true.
That's what I said yesterday.
Yeah.
Well, I agree. Yeah, why am I getting exasperated? Yeah, he's absolutely right.
I just have one question. If it's locally flat, when does it stop being flat?
There's various edges.
When you stop applying maths. Oh, no, when you start applying maths.
There's no answer to your question. It comes back to our statement again, Paul. So they want the Earth to be a sphere. They just don't want the consequences of being a sphere. And this is an example of that. Well, yeah, okay, I can't show any curvature. Well, it's just locally flat. The curve's over there where you can't get to.
Well, wouldn't it have to make it up at some point as you go along? You have to make it up, so it might be flat, but then all of a sudden there's a major drop off. So wait a minute, we're back to an edge again, right?
Yeah, exactly. A load of flat, whatever shapes it would be, all glued together with edges that you never experience.
Well, let me stress the fact that it's all flat for the sextant to work.
No.
You can have a circle of equal altitude with 20 miles of flat and the rest curving, when the GP of the star you're shooting is 3,000 nautical miles away. Sorry.
I don't know if you remember me saying this a long time ago. What they're implying is actually we live on a disco ball. That's what they're implying.
Yeah, mirror ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, same applies to the way they survey it. So they survey it flat. They just beg the question of a sphere first. So they draw a tangent plane out, having got the 90-degree angle by dropping a plumb line and saying that points to the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth. And then all of the surveying's done on a flat plane with Euclidean principles applied. So what have you actually got? Well, you've got a flat area that they map out and build on, just like it shows in Google Earth. So it's flat. Oh, right. What's that you say? I assumed that at the beginning stages when I got the tangent plane, you see, there's the word tangent in there. Well, it's a tangent to my sphere edge horizon that makes the Earth a sphere, and I assume that because we already know it, and I got it from a datum. So therefore, I'm pointing at this particular angle. My plumb line's not plumb on the model. I'm pointing at this angle towards the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth. That gives me my 90 degrees on a ball, which I couldn't have acquired otherwise. Now we're going to survey it all flat.
Got a picture for you, Master B, Nathan, on the disco ball.
I think you have to, that's not the purported geometry. Because if it was, there'd be angular planes, wouldn't there, in terms of it? So it's just, as you say, it's just an illusion. It's a buy-in for you to imagineer the ball, even though everything you do is flat. The first bait and switch is to pretend that the flat plane you're on is now redefined as a tangent plane, as if it's just touching the edge of a ball, and you'll just look at, you know what I mean? It's bait and switch from day one, but what they don't do is John, what you're suggesting is then assemble the geometry of a disco ball, because there would be those obtuse angles that suggested planes would meet. It's a bit like the WGS81 where they flatten it out. They flatten it out imaginary, locally, and that point restarts at every point where you're standing. So I can go 10 foot to the left and the flattening restarts from there. So where I was is actually a little bit more curved than when I was stood there. Based on the maths. That's how the maths then builds the model around the person, the observer, which is basically to mug you off, because the measurements you're going to take are flat, but they want you to collude into the ball ideology.
Yeah, it's a nuts situation. And when we point out that situation to a fundy that just wants to actually have it be a ball, when it's merely a reification of a model, or a religion is another way of putting it, they'll get very angry. Well, Okay, that's their problem as far as I'm concerned. You know, and all of these, I don't know who mentioned it earlier, but they're like, well, all of these caveats just demonstrate the fear that they're experiencing. Well, yeah, that's never a true word spoken. They're in fear of us. And that's become more and more obvious over probably the last 80 since the Black Swan. You know, they're scared of us. That's obvious now. Why? Well, because we threaten their religion. That's the reality of it. That's why they condemn us and belittle us and berate us, because they're scared of us. That's why.
Nathan, did you post that picture?
It's been a while we've been talking.
Here, I got another one coming your way.
I think maybe
Here it comes.
because they're scared of us and we've been fighting with swords before, maybe they've realised they've only got spoons and that's why they're insisting Brian only turns up with a spoon.
Yeah, and I think Brian knows it.
Well, as I remember, after the Black Swan argument, it was almost like nobody wanted to come around and debate it for a while after QE presented it. Like they ignored it. And I think they ignored it so much that now they don't even, like, it's so far on the edge of their perception that it takes something like this to kind of bring it back in.
Yeah, they've not built up a rebuttal that actually stands. As a result, they've hand waved it. So then you get back into a discussion that utilises their assertion in the first instance, Earth a sphere, with geometry. And you go, we've debunked this with the Black Swan. And they go, what do we do? What do we do? They don't know what to do. Now, this is typified by the current situation with Cats & Co. Because they've taken an image and they haven't assessed it for whether or not it's a Black Swan. That much is obvious. Why? Well, because they'd all hand-waved it. So if they hadn't have hand-waved it and thought, no, we better take this seriously and figure out something to combat this argument, they'd have took that image and gone, hang on a second, we better assess it for whether or not it's a Black Swan. And they wouldn't have presented it in the first place. Right? Well, they have. And we've gone, not only can we point out that it's a Black Swan, we can point out that you cropped out the Black Swan, which is just brilliant.
That's my point. Did they assess it, see the Black Swan there and have to remove that? Or was it all that's just complicated and contradicts what they're saying without really... Because it's easy for that left-hand side to contradict their pixel point, because it even gives alignment there in terms of the turtle. So could understand that, but maybe they didn't even think Black Swan and how devastating the Black Swan is on that particular stretch, because surely they knew they were going to get caught out. So I think you're probably right. I don't think they did. I might have given them credit before, Nathan, but actually it is too devastating for you to look at that picture and even consider using it, isn't
exactly.
it? And if you have properly considered.
I think your second explanation, which fell in line with my description, is exactly right. They've looked at it and gone, that doesn't quite work with the argument. And that's the only consideration it's had. And they've gone, well, it's not that important. We'll just crop it out.
Yeah.
Do we know that they cropped it themselves, or did they...
I'm pretty sure they cropped it, given that one of the stipulations Brian's recently received is that the photo that can only be discussed is the one that's cropped, that was presented. That's what he's been told. So what do you think?
Damn. Yeah, that does kind of...
See, fighting with spoons. Hilarious.
I'm surprised Anthony's not more exasperated about this. He's normally all for pointing out the double standards. You know, imagine if we were in the same situation. It's like, I suppose it just goes without saying now, because we've been in the exact same situation, and those are the examples we're hurling back at them now when they like give us an elevation from Google or something.
To be honest, I'm so satisfied that every single baller in this topic is fundamentally dishonest that I've lost interest in it. It's that bad. That's how bad it is.
Well, Brian knows that he's been limited to fighting with a spoon, but I think he knows where the fork in the road is.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
I agree a bit with Tony, actually.
They'll be bringing a knife to a gun battle.
John always says that you shouldn't ascribe to malice that which can be explained by stupidity. I think it's the other way around in this topic. You shouldn't ascribe to stupidity that which is generally considered to be malice. It is that in this topic.
Well, like Nathan said, if they hadn't specifically said you aren't allowed to discuss the fact that it was a cropped image, that's kind of damning as far as intent goes.
Yeah, they've told Brian you're only allowed to discuss the one that was presented, which is the cropped image. Shouldn't every single image always prove a sphere? You don't need to crop things, right?
Well, shouldn't you go take an actual measurement on site instead of saying that you can get one from a picture?
No.
Yeah, I said that the other day. Every image should display a sphere at some point. This is ridiculous.
So they can see through Blackpool. They've got X-ray vision to get the angular size. They can see through an occultation by physical rock. Why not, right? We're so used to them seeing through the bulge. Why not?
Yeah, but isn't from Southport to the beginning of Blackpool still violating the Black Swan argument?
Yes.
So if the R that they rest their whole globe on is violated in front of the Blackpool, which is in the way of everything behind Blackpool, then they've lost on that count as well before they even
they
go
haven't.
to the left side of the picture.
Don't declare victory too quick. Brian's also been told he's not allowed to talk about Earth curve.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So they want to defend the globe, but you can't talk about our Earth curve.
That's correct.
He can be in the panel and listen, and that's it.
That's how it goes on a neutral platform.
More like a neutralized platform.
So he ain't allowed to talk about a sphere with a radius.
If you count not being able to talk about the geometric horizon, that's Earth curve. No, he's been specifically told, and he's not allowed to talk about that.
They're trying to keep it on topic, though, aren't they? So why would that have anything to do with, the Earth being a ball?
Why would the geometric horizon, in there begging the question, proof of nothing, perspective hijacking Earth curve calculator marked with an X labelled horizon, claimed to be blocking boats, buildings, and the Isle of Man, have anything to do with the discussion on Earth curve? Well, it wouldn't if the picture that they're debating with violates every single one of those points I just made.
Well, isn't basically the picture and what they say it is the claim? Isn't the claim Earth curve? Why can't you address the claim of the topic?
No, God, Arwin, all of you need to keep up. That's not the claim being made here, right? You need to understand that your claim, Arwin, this is your claim. You're a flat earther. This is your claim, right?
What? Oh, yeah. We claim that they claim that the horizon is Earth curve.
No, you're still not keeping up. Your claim, Arwin, is that when you do clown show trig, and completely ignore that mountain at the back, farther away at the top than it is at the bottom, when you ignore that stuff because you are flat earther with this cat's clown show trig, then you're going to be discussing that so they can debunk that, Arwin. That's the rules. You understand the rules?
So it's about the kitty trick.
Look, just understand that you're claiming cat's clown show trig. That's yours, Arwin. You understand that, don't you? Because if you don't accept that, then they're not going to debate with you.
Okay,
I'm not joking either.
Rules, Arwin.
The debate is going to have to be about his errorful trigonometry thing.
No, Arwin, that's your trig. The stupid clown show trig that Katz has created that we're laughing at him over, that's actually your trig, right?
Yeah,
and you've got to debate with him on that standpoint.
I never even heard it.
I just want to say I'm not even joking
I
here.
better learn what my claim is quickly. Yeah.
No, that is your claim. I just want to make it clear that I'm not even joking, right? Brian has been told that in terms of the trigonometry and Ranty means their trig that they're holding up as a straw man when he calculates these positions that are the things that are only going to get discussed. Definitely not Earth curve or black swans. No. But his trig, Brian's been told that that's what's going to be debated about. Because that's Brian's trig. It's Katz's trig. Well, you've got to accept that as your trig to debate them on their home ground advantage with all of their caveats. That's the rules.
Okay, so the only way they're going to engage in some debate is if you claim something ridiculous, or you don't, you just let them make the claim for you.
That's correct. That's right. It's akin to me saying, look, if you're going to come here and debate the globe, you've got to accept dancing unicorns is your claim. Because I'm here to debunk dancing unicorns. So you understand, Globetard, that you are now claiming dancing unicorns, right? Because here's my maths for dancing unicorns. It's yours. That's what they're doing.
And then they'll beat you into submission because they won't let you respond with the debunk.
But that sounds a bit like projection.
It's just sad and pathetic. That's what it is.
The only response you're allowed, Owen, is unicorns are real. You see.
But unicorns are real.
Sorry, Arwen, do you accept that the Earth is flat? Therefore, you have maths for unicorns. Do you get it? You accept flat Earth, therefore this is your unicorn maths.
I'm a little confused here.
If I was in Brian's position, I would preface every response with the information that debunks this claim as not being allowed here.
Wait a second, but Nathan, don't you do the same thing? Hold on, don't you do the same thing when you hold them to the radius?
That's their claim.
Look at it.
When I hold them to the radius, Neil, that is their claim. So I'm not holding them to some extraordinary claim. And when I do hold them to their claim of geometry with radius value at 3959, their claim, they try and make that my claim so that they can debunk it. They even say that QE claims it because we've debunked it. So because it's debunked, well, it's got to be your flat Earth claim then. What, that the Earth's a sphere radius 3959 in every distance to horizon, like the one in the left-hand side of the image that we're not allowed to discuss, can be no more than 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet, as per your globe Earth mathematics that you do claim. What's that? They're my globe Earth, flat Earth math. No, they're not. Like the trig that you're producing isn't mine either.
But what if I claim
Nathan, nobody claims the geometric horizon is visible. What do you mean?
No, Chocolate, you're not allowed to talk about the geometric horizon. That's part of the rules.
Right, so what if you bring to the debate the claim that you claim that it's only their claim that you claim the trig?
That's perfect, Darwin. When you can convolute it into such a nonsensical statement that the audience doesn't really understand who's claiming what, but ultimately at the end of that process, they can hold up their trig as your claim, then they'll be happy.
No, but I'm claiming it's only your claim that they claim it's our claim.
I see. So it's Nathan that's saying that this trig is our trig claimed as your trig when it's not your trig. It's my claim that it's their trig when it's not their trig. It's our trig, but it's not our trig. So that's actually my claim that they're claiming it's our trig. I see, Arwen. Very clever.
Yeah, do you have a citation for all that?
Do you know what this sounds like? When we used to play football in school, and like if you lost and you had to like at the end of the end of break and the bell would ring, if you were the one that lost at the time, you'd have to stand against the wall, and it was called bear ass, and basically people would kick the ball at your ass. That's what literally would happen. It sounds like Brian's going into a game of bear ass as an adult.
Any comment, Brian?
I only got the end of that. Yeah, I could just basically accept that, and that Anthony says as the truth. No bothers.
He's taking one for the team.
Yeah, you're the sacrificial lamb, aren't you? You're going in for the slaughter.
Not at all.
Except that when they throw it at him, he's gonna catch him and throw it right back at their faces.
He's not going to be able to.
No, he's going to bite on the ball.
It doesn't even be on there.
He has to catch it with his face.
Like,
And with that, I'm going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and G Plus panels for making today's after show possible. And of course, a massive thank you to all of you in either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering Streams for smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, or becoming a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member. Also, below this video, you can get £50 for swapping your UK electricity supplier to Octopus Energy. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
What a day! What a lovely day!